Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Salam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Salma Syadilla. I am from Class 6A of English Department of Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University. I am here today to present you my seminar on English language teaching research paper with the title College Students' Perceptions on Technologies for English Language Learning, Duolingo Applications. Before we start, I'd like to mention my honorable mentions to the lecturer of this course, Professor Dr. Syafrizal. And now let's move on to the presentation. So the table of contents of these presentations is the first, there is introductions, consists of background of the study, statement of the problem, and objective of the study. The second is literature review, consists of theoretical basis and framework of thinking. The third is methodology, consists of research design, populations and sample, research instrument, data collecting technique, and data analysis technique. The fourth is result and discussions, and the fifth is conclusion. Next is background of the study. Technology has always played a significant role in the learning and teaching process. It is a crucial component of the job of teachers since they can use it to improve students' learning. According to Clements and Sarama, using the right technological resources can be useful for learners. Teachers can modify classroom activities with the help of technology, which improves language learning. From the outset of planning learning experiences through the teaching and learning process, technology becomes a crucial component of the learning experience and a significant concern for teachers. Applications, games, and the like can provide significant learning and facilitate the teacher's task of stimulating and motivating students to acquire foreign languages in a fun and effective way. One of the applications that can be used for English language learning is Duolingo. Duolingo is a free game-like learning app for learning foreign languages created by Louis von Ahn and Severin Hacker. This application is available in a web version and is also available in Android, iOS, and Windows Phone versions. Duolingo aims to create a light yet powerful learning experience for its users. From the descriptions above, the researcher is interested in conducting research titled College Students' Perceptions on Technologies for English Language Learning, Duolingo Applications. And from the descriptions above, there are statements of the problem. The first is the role of technology important for college students in English language learning? The second is learning English using the Duolingo applications more interesting for college students? And the last is, does learning English using the Duolingo applications can improve college students' English skill? The next is objective of the study. As for the purpose of this research is to find out college students' perceptions on technologies for English language learning, the Duolingo applications. So next is theoretical basis. I have 7 variables to describe in this research paper. The first is language. Language is a set of principles that humans use to communicate. Language is a social tool that humans use to interact with one another. Every language community uses language differently, especially English, due to a diverse social context and geographic locations. This occurs because different communities have diverse behavior and customs, which might result in language differences between regions. And the second is English language. According to Brumfitt, English is a global language and the most widely used form of communications worldwide. Currently, English has become the main media of communications for people in various countries around the world. As the most widely used language in various countries in the world, English is considered the official language for international use. The next is language learning. Language learning is the process of learning a language that takes place in a classroom or in specific situations rather than in the natural environment. Language learning is broadly defined as the development of communication skills in a second or foreign language. Language learning is a conscious process that results from either a formal learning environment or a self-study program. As a result, language learning aims to improve students' ability to communicate in language both orally and in writing. The next is technology. In general, technology is a branch of science that teaches people how to make tools as well as how to process and extract materials from objects so they can solve issues and carry out human activities on a regular basis. Castell state that technology is a collection of tools, rules, and procedures which are the applications of scientific knowledge to a particular job under conditions that allow repetition. Next is technology and educations. The use of technology is proven to be able to increase children's interest in learning because it looks more attractive so that it will avoid feeling bored while attending lessons. And the next is educational technology. Tom Kuchel defined educational technology as the study and applications of behavioral science and learning theory that use a system approach to analyze, plan, create, implement, evaluate, and manage the use of technology to assist in resolving learning and performance issues. The fundamental objective is to employ technology to address issues with human learning and performance. Educational technology is a technology that is closely related to the world of education in which these educational activities will also use special tools. This educational technology is also made in order to improve the performance of students by managing and building different technological resources and processes in the classroom environment or in other learning environments. And the last is Duolingo applications. Duolingo is a free game-like learning app for kids created by Luis von Ahn and Severin Hacker. This application is available in the web version and is also available in Android, iOS, and Windows Phone versions. Duolingo is said to as the future of language learning and international communications. Duolingo Applications is also a free online language learning site with a mission to help users learn languages as well as use their learning exercises through the web and applications. Duolingo aims to create a light yet powerful learning experience for its users. You can find over 100 total courses in 41 different languages, from Spanish, French, German, and Japanese to Navajo and Yiddish, and many more. Duolingo is one of the most popular language learning platforms. It is also the most downloaded educational applications in the world with more than 300 million users. So the next is framework of thinking. English is one of the most important languages to study today. This is due to the fact that English is a universal language that is frequently used for communications in many fields, beginning with business, tourism, and other areas. Technology-based English learning can make it easier for students to learn English language. And the Duolingo applications is one of the technology devices that can be used to learn English. Duolingo applications is a technology for learning various languages in the world, including English language. And so the next is the methodology that I use in this research. The first is research design. This research uses quantitative descriptive method. Quantitative descriptive research is to describe, examine, and explaining something that is studied as it is, and draw conclusions from observable phenomena using numbers. An objective picture or descriptions of situations using numbers is the goal of the quantitative descriptive research approach, which starts with the data collections and includes data interpretations as well as appearance and result. And then the next is populations and sample. A wide category known as populations contains things or subject with particular attributes and traits the researchers have chosen to investigate and draw conclusion from. And the populations is broken down into the sample. Each member of the population has an equal chance of being chosen as a sample member using probability sampling. And so the populations and sample in this research is 20 English language learners from Twitter. And the next is research instrument. Research instruments are tools or facilities used by researchers to collect data in order to make their work easier and results better, in the sense that they are more accurate, complete, and systematic, allowing data to be processed more easily. So the research instrument that I use in this research is questionnaire. The next is data collecting technique. A 4-point scale was used in this research. Respondents are forced to rate their attitudes towards statements or questions in the instruments on a 4-point scale. The 4-point scale have the following meanings. Number 1 means strongly disagree, number 2 means disagree, number 3 means agree, and number 4 means strongly agree. The data analysis techniques that I use in this research is descriptive analysis. The descriptive analysis approach, according to Sugiono, use statistics to evaluate data by summarizing or describing the data that has been acquired as it is without aiming to draw broad generalizations of or inferences. A statistical analysis technique called descriptive analysis aims to provide descriptions of the research issue based on variable data collected from certain subject groups. The results of a descriptive analysis can be shown as frequency distribution tables, histogram tables, mean values, standard deviations values, and other types of data. And next is results and discussions. So the first is the use of technology in English language learning. The researcher gives statements through questionnaire from Google form. The first statement is, I am using technology in English language learning. From 20 respondents, 16 respondents are strongly agreed that they are using technology in English language learning. This shows that most college students use technology in their learning activities. Technology is important to the process of globalization, affecting culture, work, and education. In addition, this also shows that technology has a very important role for college students in learning English. This can be seen in the table below. So the next is the role of technology in English language learning is very important. The second statement is the role of technology in English language learning is very important. And from 20 respondents, 15 respondents are strongly agree that technology is very important for their English language learning. Technology can help them to learn English more easily. In addition, the impacts that technology has on student achievement are listed by Sandholt as follow: acquiring basic understanding, becoming an adept user of technology, providing students with the 21st century skills, and encouraging students to achieve at a higher level. From the statement, we can see that technology has a very important role in learning process for students. And one of the technologies for learning English is the Duolingo applications. Duolingo is a language learning application for mobile devices that combines visual, audio, and questions. Duolingo is an application used by college students to learn English. We can see this in the table next. So the next is English language learning is more interesting by using the Duolingo applications. The third statement is English language learning is more interesting by using the Duolingo applications. And from 20 respondents, 15 respondents are agreed that Duolingo applications is an interesting way for English language learning. Duolingo applications is simple to use since the procedure is straightforward and it can be utilized by people of ages. This implies that Duolingo applications is easier to use and more exciting, making it a suitable media for language learning activities. This is in line with previous research which shows that students feel satisfied and happy learning languages using Duolingo applications. And the next is learning by using the Duolingo application helps the students to improve their English language skills. The last statement is learning by using Duolingo applications helps me improve my English language skills. From 20 respondents, 14 respondents are agreed that learning English with the Duolingo applications could increase their language skills. One of the unique features of the Duolingo applications is that if the answer given by the user turns out to be wrong, then the applications will tell where the error lies and show the correct answers. Thus, users can learn from those mistakes to improve their skills. Okay, so now we're in the end of the presentation, which is the conclusions. So in the development of the 21st century era, which can be said to be the era of technology, technology nowadays plays a very important role in our life. The impact of technology can be felt in all fields, one of which is education. The use of technology can actually have a positive effect on the learning process. The role of technology in learning English is very important. Based on the results of the research that has been described previously, we can see that many college students use technology in their English language learning. They also feel that the role of technology is very important in English language learning. With the existence of technology, it could help them to improve their English skills. Some of the widely used English learning applications are Duolingo, which offers complete English lessons from grammar, vocabulary to listening and speaking. College students feel that learning English using the Duolingo applications is more interesting and can help them improve their English skills. And so the result of this study are expected to provide a certain perspective for teachers or educators in implementing learning technologies such as the Duolingo applications in the process of English language learning. And so that's all for the presentations from me. Thank you so much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm Riska Hanifah with student number 322232000070 from class 6A. First of all, the Honorable Mr. Syafrizal, the lecturer of this course and our friend whom I love. The purpose of the presentation is to present my paper entitled Students' Perception of the Influence of Online English Learning on Student Speaking Ability. So I'd like to give you a brief outline of my presentation today. So here's the table of content. First, introduction. Second, literature review. Third, methodology. Fourth, discussion. And the last is conclusion. In introduction, there are three parts: background, problem, and the purpose. So in the background, there are two things that become the reason why I choose the topic. The first reason is the essential speaking ability of students, and the second reason is the presence of COVID-19 virus. The competence to speak is one of the significant aspects of English. With the competence to speak with English, someone can communicate and interact well. The final component of English that implies all other components is speaking. When learning a language, the speaking aspect is learning goal that determines the success of students. At present, online learning is an alternative that has been chosen by most educational institutions for various profitable and urgent reasons. The emergence of the COVID-19 virus is the main reason for implementing online learning. At the end of 2019, the spread of the global pandemic COVID-19 was increasingly widespread and caused class suspension, which resulted in the need for online learning. This learning system also applies to English as a foreign language, referring to speaking skills. It is feared that intense interaction will not occur during online learning, so as to produce passive interaction between teachers, students, and students. And the problems in this study can be summed up as follows. First, does online learning affect students' English speaking ability? What aspect influenced by online learning on the development of their speaking ability? How does the online learning system affect students' speaking ability? Next slide. And the purpose, the goal of this study was to know how online English learning affects students' English speaking ability. And the second, to find aspects that are influenced by online learning on the development of students' speaking ability. And the last, to know how the online learning system affects students' speaking ability. Next slide, please. Next. Okay, the next is literature review. In this study, I use some terms such as online learning, speaking ability, and COVID-19. What is online learning? Online learning is a teaching and learning process that utilizes the internet and digital media in delivering material. And then speaking ability is speaking is natural way to communicate. Speaking ability is a skill of conveying words or sound of articulation to express or to deliver ideas, opinion, or feeling. And the last is COVID-19. Coronavirus disease 20 and 19 are commonly abbreviated as COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2, a type of coronavirus. People with COVID-19 can experience fever, dry cough, and difficulty breathing. This disease can be contagious and even spread very quickly. The infection spreads from one person to another through droplets from the respiratory tract that are often produced when coughing and sneezing. Next slide, please. And then there are two sides of online learning, advantages and disadvantages. In advantages, including availability, individualized learning, enhanced intellectual abilities, cost effectiveness, encourages research, basic computer abilities, equal opportunity to all, self-processing, and globalization. And the other side is disadvantageous, such as bad communication, feeling isolated, lack of motivation, lack of funds, lack of quality, and less poor accessibility in remote areas. Next slide, please. So here's we move to framework of thinking. Online English learning is the main topic that will be connected with student speaking ability. Then by a questionnaire, we will know if there is an effect of online English learning on student speaking ability or not. Next, I collected the data based on the result of the questionnaire, and the findings or the result of the study are based on students' perception. Next slide, please. All right, so next is methodology. Types of this research is quantitative descriptive research, and population and sample of the study is the participant in this study were 6 semester students from Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University's English department. Then the sample in this study is 32 students of class A. And in this study, I use a questionnaire as research instrument. Next slide. Okay, so next we move to the findings. This table shows the result of the questionnaire. Next. In the first question, online learning is more structured than traditional learning. As much I got a 40.6% answer disagree. And for two questions, I feel more confident taking part in online discussion than in offline classes. And I got 31.3% as answer disagree. And then third question, online learning reduce my motivation in speaking English. So most of them answer agree. I got 46.7.9, sorry. And the fourth question, I find it difficult to concentrate during online learning, so I don't focus and even ache in the different during learning. And the most of them answer agree of that. And then I got 40.6. And then the fifth statement, I get more stress during online learning because the online learning system focuses more on assignment than learning discussion. And I get 34.4 as answer as agree. And then sixth question, online learning puts pressure to speak higher spontaneously than offline learning. And I got 37.5 and answer disagree. And the seventh statement, I'm free to actively speak when learning online. And I got 31.3 and answer neutral. And the last statement, the interaction between lecturers and students is more active and intense during online learning. And I got a 43.8 and answer disagree. Next slide, please. So the next is discussion. There are some aspects that are influenced by online learning students' speaking skills based on the students' perception. In English Department Sultan Ageng Prayasa Universities, those aspects can be seen as follow. Next slide. First aspect is learning system and structures. A less structured learning system has a significant effect on students' learning performance and understanding. This is supported by the data from the questionnaire and also supported by NADIFA in 2018 says that structured learning is stated as goal-oriented learning to be active to be achieved. And the second aspect, confidence in speaking English. Students' lack of confidence to dare to interact verbally becomes an obstacle for them in the developing speaking skills. This is supported by the data from the questionnaire and also supported by Aulia and Apoko in 2022. There here was that here was a very significant relationship between self-confidence and speaking skill. And the third aspect is motivation in speaking English. Based on the result obtained, online learning has had an unfavorable effect on their motivation to speak during learning. The motivation for speaking English is the ability to force yourself to communicate with others. This is supported by the data and the questionnaire, and also supported by Ihsan in 2016. That motivation can be seen as an aspect of success when learning the target language related to the language or speaking skill. Next slide, please. Okay, so the fourth aspect is learning effectiveness. The high pressure of giving assignment that make students become stressed can have several negative effects, not only on their achievements, but also on other aspects of themselves. This is supported by the data from the questionnaire and also supported by PASCO in 20 and 20, in 20 and 20. And the ongoing stress related to education has demonstrated a negative impact on students' learning capacity, academic performance, education and employment attainment, sleep quality and quantity, physical health, mental health, and substance use outcomes. They may even dislike the learning. And then the last aspect is student activeness in speaking. Based on the questionnaire that was filled out by the students, it was found that students did not feel free to be active in speaking and they tended to be silent, only listening the material from the lecturer because the interaction between the lecturer and students was not as active and intense as when the class was offline. Data from the survey and its support by Askia in 2016 both show that the students' speaking abilities required them to do more than just pronounce the words. They also had to connect it effectively with others. Next slide, please. And the last is conclusion. That there are several aspects that are influenced by online learning on student speaking ability based on the perception of students majoring in English education at Sultan Ageng Ketayasa University, where those perceptions are based on their experience in being directly involved in implementing two different learning systems. There are online learning and offline. The result shows that the main aspects that are most influenced by online learning on their speaking ability are system and structure of learning, confidence in speaking English, motivation in speaking English, and learning effectiveness and activeness in speaking. So it can conclude So it can be concluded that online learning has an unfavorable influence on students' speaking abilities, where this is motivated by the level of passivity, both interaction and discussion between students and lecturers or students with students. Briefly, if this continues to happen during English learning, it is certain that they cannot practice their speaking skills, and the effect is the students' speaking abilities cannot develop and may even decrease. All right, now we come to the closing, but before I close this presentation, I really hope and appreciated the criticism or suggestion to develop this study so that it will benefit for us. Thank you for your coming and participating. Have a great day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.